There comes a moment in almost everyone's life when they decide it's time. Maybe it's a photo they don't like. Maybe it's climbing a flight of stairs and getting out of breath. Maybe it's seeing someone else's transformation online. Whatever the reason, one day the idea appears. I'm going to start going to the gym. At that moment, anything feels possible. The future version of you already exists in your imagination. Stronger, healthier, more confident. You start watching transformation videos. You follow fitness accounts, you save workout routines you'll probably never use. Suddenly your social media feed becomes nothing but fitness content. Everyone seems to have six-pack abs. Everyone seems to know exactly what they're doing. And somehow every video promises results in 30 days. You buy gym clothes. You buy a water bottle. You buy headphones. You are now approximately 70% fitness equipment and 30% actual fitness. And for a while that feels enough. But eventually there comes a day when watching fitness videos isn't enough anymore. You actually have to walk through the gym doors. And that's when the next stage arrives. You walk inside. Machines everywhere, weights everywhere, people everywhere. Everyone looks like they know exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, you're trying to figure out where you're supposed to stand. You spend the first 10 minutes pretending to stretch while secretly observing other people. You're not working out, you're conducting research. Eventually you gather enough courage to pick up a pair of dumbbells. Bicep curls. The universal first exercise. The exercise that everybody understands. 3 sets later, you're convinced you've unlocked a new lifestyle. The surprising thing is, once you've survived the first visit, the fear disappears much faster than expected. Unfortunately, it gets replaced by something else. Confidence, a dangerous amount of confidence. You decide it's time to try everything. Every machine, every cable, every bench. If it exists in the gym, you're determined to use it. You pull things, you push things. You adjust random pins and hope for the best. Sometimes you're training the correct muscle. Sometimes you're training something else entirely. The next morning, however, your body makes its opinion known. Everything hurts. Walking hurts. Sitting hurts. Laughing hurts. Sneezing somehow hurts. And yet, you're strangely proud of it. Because soreness feels like proof. Proof that something is happening. Proof that you're becoming stronger. And after a few weeks of pressing random buttons and adjusting random pins, something unexpected happens. You stop guessing. You start recognizing the equipment. You start recognizing the people. And the gym slowly begins to feel familiar. You no longer wander around looking for your next exercise. You have a route, a system, a plan. You know exactly where you're going when you walk through the door. Without even realizing it, you've become one of the regulars. Of course, once you have a routine, your brain immediately finds a new obsession. Because lifting weights isn't enough anymore. Now food enters the conversation. Protein, calories, macros, meal prep. You discover an entirely new language. You start reading labels. You start checking ingredients. You start calculating things. Your search history becomes deeply concerning. How much protein is too much protein? Best post-workout meal. Can I build muscle eating pizza? Your fridge slowly transforms into a shrine dedicated to chicken and rice. And then one day, after all the workouts, after all the meal prep, after all the protein shakes, you notice something. You catch your reflection. And something looks different. Maybe your shoulders look wider. Maybe your arms look bigger. Maybe your posture has changed. The difference isn't dramatic. Nobody else may even notice. But you do. Because you've been watching the process every day. For the first time, the effort becomes visible. And then, somewhere between, I think I'm getting the hang of this, and why does my elbow make that noise? You level up. Not officially. There's no ceremony. The gym doesn't hand you a certificate or anything. You just stop looking like you're visiting a foreign country every time you walk in. You start acting like you belong. Because this is where confidence shows up uninvited, and starts loading plates you absolutely did not emotionally prepare for. At first it's subtle. An extra 2.5 kilograms. harmless, innocent, basically a decorative plate. Then suddenly you're doing things like saying, "Yeah, I'll try that weight," with the tone of someone who has clearly never tried that weight before. PR hunting begins. At first, it's wholesome. I added one more rep. Then it becomes, if I don't beat last week, I've basically lost my identity. Start treating spreadsheets in your head like Olympic qualifiers. Meanwhile, creatine enters the chat. Food also escalates. Chicken and rice becomes less of a meal and more of a personality trait. You begin judging restaurant menus on a protein to happiness ratio. Your fridge stops being a fridge and becomes a fueling station for a small, disciplined machine. And then it happens. You look in the mirror mid-random bathroom visit and think, wait, am I kind of built? Important, nobody else has noticed yet. But you have. And that's enough to trigger the next phase. You become slightly annoying in a harmless way. You start giving advice you were not asked for. You point at cables like you invented them. You say things like, "You should really try progressive overload," to people who were just trying to live peacefully. Then comes the plateau. The humbling. The why is 80 kilograms suddenly heavier than it was last Tuesday era. Now every session is a negotiation with gravity. But weirdly, you stay. Because by this point, the gym isn't a transformation arc anymore. It's just a place you go to argue with weights for an hour. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you dramatically lose and pretend it was a deload week. You just become the person who disappears for an hour and comes back slightly more tired, but emotionally stable. Years later, nothing dramatic remains. No montage music. No cinematic glow-up moment. Just you, still lifting something unnecessarily heavy, thinking, yeah, I'll try one more rep. Different story. Same main character.